Good evening and welcome to Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors Business Meeting, Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, 7:06 p.m. Board Meeting Room, 39 Bank Street, Southeast Chatham, Virginia, 24531. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton?
Here.
Mr. Dudley?
Present.
Mr. Whittle?
Here.
Mr. Ingram?
Here.
Mr. Tucker?
Here. Would everyone join me now in a moment of silence? Thank you so much. Please stand if you're physically able as we say our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. This time we will move to agenda item number 5. Any items to be added to the agenda?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to move item 7C from the consent agenda to the new business as item 12A.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Whittle. Thank you, Mr. Ingram. That is a motion to move or separate item 7C to new business. Any discussion? Hearing none, cast your votes. Thank you so much. Motion passes unanimously. All right, let's see. I will move to item number 6, the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the agenda with the changes in it as presented, sir.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
my motion.
Dudley. Support.
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. All right, movement with second. We will approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, cast your votes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. At this time, we will move to item number 7, the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the removal of item C to move to the business meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. All right, any discussion on the motion? Please cast your votes.
Don't have anything.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Now we move to item number 8A, presentations. Let me see. Did the young lady
Yes,
show
sir.
up?
We do have possibly 2. So Tina Sumter, Accreditation Coordinator from the Department of Criminal Justice Services in the Law Enforcement Accreditation Division. She's supposed to be here to make a presentation regarding the Sheriff's Office achieving DCJS's Crime Prevention Community Program certification.
Can we turn the podium around? No. Hang on 1 second, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm going to let you.
Oh.
Good evening and welcome.
evening. I'm Tina Sumter from the Department of Criminal Justice Services. I am honored this evening to be before you to present Pennsylvania County with a certification. But before I present the certificate, let me give you a brief history on the Certified Crime Prevention Communities Program. The Certified Crime Prevention Communities Program was developed by the Department of Criminal Justice Services and approved by the Commission in 1998 executive order, where Governor Gilmore charged the Commission with the responsibilities of advising him on new initiatives. These initiatives were to promote community safety, particularly youth and family safety, on the local levels. The Commission asked the Department of Criminal Justice Services to recommend programs that foster development of these community initiatives. From the 1993 Crime Commission study, the Certified Crime Prevention Community Program was designed and approved. Out of all the communities throughout Virginia, which is over 400 communities, there is only 15 Certified Crime Prevention Community within Virginia, and that includes you, Pennsylvania County. To obtain certification, Pennsylvania County submitted application for certification. You had to meet 19 community safety elements. This included 12 core elements and 7 optional elements. This isn't an easy task and takes tremendous amount of dedication, not only from your sheriff's office, but from your whole community. This is an accomplishment that the sheriff's office in your community should be very proud of. Throughout the review, it became clear that the success of Pennsylvania County prevention efforts is due to 4 factors: community interactions, the dedication of Pennsylvania County Sheriff's Office personnel, not only to the Sheriff's Office, but to your community, program development, and finding ways to bridge identified gaps within your community. Highlights of Pennsylvania County application is that your Neighborhood Watch program began in 1986. In 1996, a community organized policing unit was developed to work within communities that were showing higher crime during a period. In 2023, you developed a team of 3 deputies called Criminal Interdiction Unit that goes into higher crime areas. In June 2025, the Sheriff's Office and the Chamber of Commerce implemented the Business Watch program. The Trunk or Treat event, you had 53 participants that included businesses and civic groups. There were between 4,000 and 5,000 in attendance at your Trunk or Treat, and you had 44 sponsors and 50 volunteers at this event. On December the 8th, 2025, Pennsylvania application was presented to the Criminal Justice Service Board and was approved for certification. On behalf of the Secretary of Public Safety and the Director of Department of Criminal Justice Services, I would like to present Pennsylvania County with their Certified Crime Prevention Community Certificate. And I would like to thank you, the Board of Supervisors, the Sheriff, and his staff for their dedication to your county. Congratulations and great work.
We need
Mr. Sheriff. Over there. He's looking right at you. Like, where are you at?
Is Mr. Easley here? Mr. Easley? I don't see him. That's okay. We'll do that next month.
Okay, thank you all. Let's see. Now we move down to item number 9, the hearing of the citizens. Each person addressing the board on the hearing of the citizens shall be a resident or landowner of the county or the registered agent of such resident or landowner. Each person shall step up, give his or her name and district in an audible tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. No person shall be permitted to address the board more than once during hearing of the citizens. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a body and not to any individual member thereof. Hearing of the citizens shall last for a maximum of 45 minutes. Any individual that is signed up to speak during said section who does not get the opportunity to do so because of the aforementioned time limit shall be given speaking priority at the next board meeting. Absent chairman's approval, no person shall be able to speak who has not signed up to do so. All right, Ms. McCluster, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, sir. Katie Whitehead.
Ms. Whitehead, good evening and welcome.
Chairman, Supervisors, thanks for the opportunity to speak. Katie Whitehead, Chatham Blairs. When I heard the expression, iron sharpening iron, at your work session in October, I guessed the meeting, I also looked it up. The phrase from Proverbs means that people can help each other grow and improve, just as one piece of iron can sharpen another. We need support and constructive criticism to become better versions of ourselves. We need honesty and accountability. The DARPA letter I read to you last Thursday asked for time to refine the language of a draft amendment to the zoning ordinance. Refine, one could say sharpen. It's important that legal language be clear and precise. It's essential that we debate our differences and together shape policies. Sometimes iron on iron isn't sufficient. Sometimes in a relationship, an iron needs a whetstone, a coarser surface to restore the edge. Many of us have told you that we want to be engaged in major county decisions. We want two-way conversation, the friction of give and take. We have come again and again, not to wave our blades around in front of you, but to engage, iron on iron, and if needed, whetstone on iron. Our job is constructive friction. We, board and constituents, are not living up to iron sharpening iron relationship described in October. There's no sharpening, no true engagement. Every speaker is defined as supporter or opponent. Everything said is reduced to yay or nay.
30 seconds remaining.
We need instead to bring our differences into sharp enough focus that we can address legitimate concerns. Last Thursday, a major zoning amendment was on the table. Instead of allowing time and two-way conversation about the amendment, you framed the rezoning process from December 17th application date to the one public meeting on January 15th.
3 minutes is complete.
As a no-brainer decision to bring transformative change. Hard decision maybe, but not a no-brainer. It was impossible to engage with you on the draft language at any time. You cannot pretend to work for us, without iron sharpening iron. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whitehead.
Jeff Love.
Mr. Love, good evening, welcome.
Jeff Love, Stanton River District. I appreciate that this board has an interest in economic development. However, there are ways to provide economic growth that don't pollute our environment and don't destroy our rural way of life. Recent economic data shows that the largest and fastest growing revenue source for our area is tourism and gaming. Visitor spending reached $275 million in 2024, and that number continues to grow. By changing large portions of the county to industrial parks, you will negatively impact or destroy our growing tourism business. I have several concerns about this board based on recent actions. This board includes members that have publicly violated the signed code of ethics without any repercussions. This board consistently ignores citizen input by not returning calls or emails and by ignoring comments made during a hearing of the citizens. Last week, the board completely ignored the majority of citizen comments regarding the new MSVMS zoning district. This board hears the citizens but does not listen to the citizens. Hearing is the passive physical act of perceiving sound, while listening is the active mental process of focusing on, interpreting, and understanding those sounds, requiring effort, concentration, and purpose to grasp the meaning behind the words. I have video from last week's meeting showing board members playing on their phones during citizen comments, which makes active listening impossible. This board doesn't understand that revising the comprehensive plan is the proper first step before making substantial zoning changes. This board has not selected the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee, even though the publicized start date was January 2026. This board has ignored reported zoning violations in violation of the bylaws Article 1.4. This board hides items within a consent agenda to avoid having citizen feedback about those items. This board consistently, unanimously approves all actionable items on the agenda without any board member opposition and without properly representing the citizens in each district. Those actions violate the intent of representative government. This board doesn't understand that trust must be earned through appropriate and citizen-focused actions. I hope that the board begins to actively listen to citizen concerns before continuing to take actions that negatively impact all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who's our next speaker?
Tracy Love.
Ms. Love, good evening, welcome.
Tracy Love from the Stanton River District. Thank you for letting me speak again tonight. From the Oxford Dictionary, trust, is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Across the country, teenagers ask, well, probably beg their parents to just trust me. I don't know about you all, but when I tried that on my parents, I was told very firmly, no, trust must be earned. Last week, after hearing our concerns and our fears, we were told, just trust the board. Honestly, I would love to be able to do that. We all have a lot on our plates. You have a lot on your plates. We all have a lot on our plates, and I would love to take something off of mine and trust all of you. But even if I trust every single board member completely and totally, there are decisions being made that include people other than the board. Other companies that I don't know because that information hasn't been shared with us, and other people who are contacting the board that I don't know because that information hasn't been shared with us. I can't trust those people and those companies because I don't know them. Even if I trust you to do your best, how can we trust them? How can we trust companies coming into our community that they're actually going to do what they say they're going to do? How can we trust them? We're not being shared any information, so it's very hard for us to say, yeah, we buy into this, we trust. Yes, I'd love to see progress. But I want to see the right kind of progress. The progress that is going to benefit all the people of the county and push us in the right direction. The world we live in today is not the world that we lived in the 60s and the 70s. It's a whole different ballgame out there. And we need to adjust to that. And hopefully we can start to trust each other, but we need to remember what trust really is and that it must be earned. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Who's our next speaker?
Chris Ferris.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
Evening, Chris.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for allowing me to speak. I am Chris Ferris, Standing River District. I'm going to speak on something totally different. The Independence Day celebration. So, the country's 250 years old. That's to be celebrated. But reading through this, it says we're appropriating $125,000 for that purpose. And then it goes on to say that we're trying to get sponsorships, fundraising, and I'm going to assume to offset the cost. So I guess my question is the $125,000 actual budget that we've looked into for line items? Is it a cap? Things are expensive, and I get that. They're not going to get cheaper. But for $125,000, I mean, should a county just appropriate maybe $50,000, $70,000? I mean, do we have a true budget for this actual celebration that's being proposed? There's a lot of work going into this. I can see that. And I know a lot of people on the steering committee. They're good people. The only thing I'm going to say is that we get into that budget season, and it seems like every time we go into the budgets, it's tight for this county. And I'm going to say this, I'm biased, and a lot of people ain't going to agree with what I'm going to say here, but if I can get half, $125,000 distributed to 4 youth programs throughout this county, that's tremendous. We struggle as far as raising money. Or do we have another 50, 60,000 that goes back to the school budget for the kids? So I guess what I'm saying is, do we have a true budget for all the items for this celebration already looked into? And if so, is it truly going to cost $125,000, or we don't know yet?
30 seconds remaining.
Thank you, Chris.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you so much. We move now to our public hearings, and under item 10A, rezoning public hearings. Pursuant to Article 5, Division 6 of the Pennsylvania County Zoning Ordinance, the Board of Supervisors have been empowered to hear and decide specific zoning issues and zoning map changes in support of said ordinance. In accomplishing this important task, the Board is responsible for promoting the health, safety, and general public welfare of the citizens of Pennsylvania County. The Board must ensure that all of its decisions, regulations are directed to these goals, and that each be consistent with the environment, the comprehensive plan, and in the best interest of Pennsylvania County, its citizens, and its posterity. In case R-25-035, let's see, Mr. Arnold.
Case R-25-035, Charles Bodner has petitioned to rezone 2.75 acres located on State Road 642, Scott Jacobs Memorial Drive in the Stanton River Election District from a double zone district to A1 Agricultural District to allow for the addition of an accessory building. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On December 2nd, 2025, the Planning Commission recommended by a 4-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary and the Planning Commission's recommendation are enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, I believe Mr. Bodner is here to represent the petition.
Thank you, sir. 7:34, we open the public hearing. You said Mr. Bosner is here? Anything to add? Yes, sir. Anything to add? Nothing to add. Anything additional? 7:35, we'll close public hearing. Mr. Dudley.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. In case R-25-035, I make a motion to approve the rezoning of 2.75 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow for a metal building on the property. Mr. Chairman, that is my motion.
Thank you, sir. Support.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Any discussion? Cast your votes, please. All right, motion passes unanimously. Property's been rezoned, sir. All right, in case R-25-36, Joseph and Leanne Fish, Mr. Arnold.
Case R-25-036, Joseph and Leanne Fish have petitioned to rezone 0.14 acres located on State Road 1539, Ashworth Lane in the Westover Election District from A1 Agricultural District to RC1 Residential Combined Subdivision District to allow the portion of the property to be deeded and consolidated to a neighboring property owned by James and Lisa Austin to improve their side setback at the Austin residence. Once the property is rezoned to RC1, all uses listed under Section 35-267 are permitted. On December 2nd, 2025, the Planning Commission recommended by a 4-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary and the Planning Commission's recommendation are enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Fish, I believe, is here to represent the petition. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 7:36, we open public hearing. Mr. Fish, are you here? Anything to add? Very nice. Nothing to add. Thank you so much. All right. We'll close public hearing at 7:36. Mr. Whittle.
In case R-25-036, I make a motion to approve the rezoning of .14 acres from A1 Agricultural District to RC1 Residential Combined Subdivision to allow the property to be deeded and consolidated with James and Lisa Austin's adjacent property, RC1 property.
Thank you, Mr. Whittle. Support for his motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you so much. I think Mr. Brown beat you. All right. Any discussion? If not, please cast your votes. Motion passes unanimously. Ma'am, your property's been rezoned. All right, in case R-25-037, let's see, this is Annette Yates. Mr. Arnold.
Case R-25-037, Annette Yates has petitioned to rezone 2.17 acres located on State Road 680, Church Road in the Bannister Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow for a manufactured home. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On December 2nd, 2025, the Planning Commission recommended by a 4-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary and the Planning Commission's recommendation are enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Annette Yates is here to represent the petition, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. We open the public hearing at 7:38. Let's see, Ms. Yates. There she is. Anything to add? Nothing to add. Thank you so much. All right. Anyone sign up to speak?
No, sir.
All right, 7:39, we close public hearing. And let's see, that's yours truly. Who want to help me out?
I can help you if you want.
Please.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, in case R-25-037, make a motion to approve the rezoning of 2.17 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agriculture District to allow a manufactured home. Mr. Chairman, that is my motion.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. Give me a little support.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Whittle. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your votes. All right, motion passes unanimously. Ms. Yates, your property's been rezoned. Thank you. All right, in case R-25-038, Ryland Brenda Reynolds. Mr. Arnold, please.
Case R-25-038, Ryland and Brenda Reynolds have petitioned to rezone 2.0 acres located on State Road 805 Tomahawk Creek Road in the Callens-Gretna Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow the property to be combined with an adjacent A1 Agricultural District zoned property. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On December 2nd, 2025, the Planning Commission recommended by a 4-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary and the Planning Commission's recommendation are enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, I believe Ryland Reynolds is here to represent the petition.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. It is 7:40. We open the public hearing. Let's see, Mr. Ryland. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you for being here. All right, anyone else?
No, sir.
All right, it's 7:41, closed public hearing. Mr. Dalton.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, in case R-25-038, I make a motion to approve the rezoning of 2 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agriculture District to combine the parcels with adjacent A1 Agriculture District properties.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram, Mr. Dalton. Discussion? Cast your votes, please.
Mr. Tucker?
I voted yes.
Is it-
Passes unanimously. Your property's been rezoned, sir. Thank you so much. All right. In case R-26-007, Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors, Mr. Arnold.
Case R-26-007, the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors has petitioned to rezone a total of 224.24 acres located on or near U.S. Highway 29, Main Street, and Pocket Road in the Stanton River Election District from R1, which consists of 28.39 acres, residential suburban subdivision district, and A1, that parcel acreage currently totals 195.85 acres in the agricultural district. All subject parcels be rezoned to M2, Industrial District Heavy Industry, to allow the properties to be used for advanced manufacturing. Once the property is rezoned to M2, all uses listed under Section 35-402 are permitted. On January 6, 2026, the Planning Commission recommended by a 7-0 vote with opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary and the Planning Commission's recommendation are enclosed in the board packet. And Mr. Chairman, if I may, at the January 6th Planning Commission meeting, it was brought to my attention as the county's zoning administrator that the southernmost parcel, or the parcel at the bottom of this map that's shown here on screen and also, I believe, passed around for each of y'all to have a hard copy of, the parcel identified as Larry Wayne Roach's parcel, GPIN ending in 8832. It actually is what they call a multi-part parcel. Part of that property, the tax parcel extends onto the western side of US Highway 29, as well as south and east of Main Street, and there's even a small portion of that overall tax parcel, that multi-part tax parcel, that extends to the east of Pennell Road. The purpose of this exhibit is to show that, as this map shows, the only portion to be considered for rezoning is the portion that's outlined in orange there at the bottom of this map on screen. That's the bulk of the parcel, okay? So it does not, this M2 rezoning is not being considered for, any piece of land currently owned by Larry Wynn Roach that's to the west of 29 or south of Main Street, south and east of Main Street, as well as Pennell Road. Just wanted to make that clear. And since it came up at the Planning Commission meeting, I thought it might be helpful to illustrate what we're talking about here. Any questions on that?
I'm good.
Okay. Excellent. Last thing I have is to represent this petition and the rezoning application. Mr. Chairman, we have the county's Economic Development Director, Mr. Matthew Rowe, here to represent this application. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Rowe. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. I have been tasked with representing this petition on behalf of the county in coordination with the Stanton River Regional Industrial Facility Authority, also known as SR-RIFA. SR-RIFA is comprised of 3 members from the county's Board of Supervisors, 3 members from the Town of Hurt Council, and 3 members from the City of Danville's Council. SR-RIFA has an active development and option agreement on the roughly 800 acres that was previously under the ownership of Burlington Mills and Klopman Mills before that. SR-RIFA has been working with surrounding landowners to market additional surrounding acreage to create a roughly 1,200-acre contiguous site. The parcels being requested for rezoning consideration are either adjacent to existing M2 heavy industrial or Town of Hurt industrial zone property. This eliminates any consideration or concern regarding spot zoning. The rezoning is supported by the comprehensive plan. The request is to only rezone those portions of affected properties that are east of U.S. Highway 29 bypass and northwest of U.S. 29 Main Street between the U.S. Highway 29 bypass and U.S. 29 Main Street. Staff would like this clarification to be clearly stated and made in writing. The site has access to existing municipal water and sewer infrastructure, high-speed dark fiber, industrial power capacity, Norfolk Southern Class 1 rail, and the future potential for industrial gas capacity. The site is also designated as being within the state's Enterprise Zone program, which targets industrial development to specific key properties. Before Burlington Mills ceased its operations in the early 2000s, the site once employed around 1,300 persons and generated over 120 truck trips per day, since Burlington Mills' East Coast distribution facility was also located on the site. The site has excellent road access with vehicular turning lanes still present. In 2020, SR RIFA announced its first tenant at the site, Stanton River Plastics, which has developed a 150,000 square foot manufacturing facility on 19 acres along Main Street. Currently, this facility employs over 70 people per state-required company reports over multiple shifts. The company has received no discretionary grants, as all incentives were to be provided post-performance. The project has resulted in around $30 million of direct investment, with more investment and job creation continuing to occur. A couple other items to note. The County Board actively listened to the citizen comments and objections regarding a private developer's recent attempt to locate a large project outside of a designated industrial park. And after that situation, the Board has directed staff to focus development efforts to existing identified industrial parks and properties. There are no plans for and no ability from an infrastructure standpoint for a data center or power generation asset to be located on the property. The only focus of development for the property is advanced manufacturing. SR RIFA has not been involved in any recent timbering activities on any of the properties. Recent visible tree cutting has been private silvicultural activities. Again, the request is to only rezone those portions of affected properties that are east of U.S. Highway 29 bypass and northwest of U.S. 29 Main Street. Concerns regarding potential negative impacts to Wayside Park. The request consideration does not impact the underlying zoning of Wayside Park. Further, currently, more than 3/4 of the existing property bordering Wayside Park is already zoned Town of Hurt Industrial or County Industrial M2. The Burlington Mills distribution facility was located less than 400 feet from the boundary of Wayside Park. No property around the park is being proposed to be rezoned. Concerns regarding potential noise. The site is adjacent to an active rail line, Norfolk Southern's Piedmont Connector, which runs along Main Street and behind Pocket Road. On average, train movement occurs on this track every 30 minutes or less, 24/7, with train horns utilized for signalized crossings. Further, the western side of the property is bordered by U.S. Highway 29 bypass, which has a 65 mile per hour posted speed limit, and this feature generates considerable background noise 24/7. Any potential for noise generation will be significantly less than the existing ambient conditions found in the area. Zoning actions by the locale do not supersede any environmental regulations or programs mandated at the state or federal level. Any and all future projects will be subject to local and state erosion and sediment control and stormwater regulations, state and federal wetland and stream channel impact regulations if applicable, and state and federal air regulations if applicable. SR RIFA, the City of Danville, the Town of Hurt, and the County IDA are supportive of this request. Again, as the individual tasked with the role as petitioner for this application, I will do my best to answer any questions that the board may have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Quick question. Would you go back and read that section again? No data center, no power generators.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Would you read it again?
I can, yes, sir.
Very slowly and very loudly.
Sure. There are no plans for and no ability from an infrastructure standpoint for a data center or power generation asset to be located on the property. The only focus of development for the property is advanced manufacturing.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, board, any questions, any discussion? Yes, sir.
Matt, just for clarification, the areas we're looking at rezoning are the ones that are coded in the gold on that map, right?
That's accurate, yes, sir.
Okay, and that accounts about 225 acres?
Correct, yes, sir.
Total. Okay,
yes, sir.
That's all I've got, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Hang on. It is 7:51. We open a public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. Aubrey Myers.
Mr. Myers, good evening. Welcome. Come on down.
Aubrey Myers, Stanton River District. I live just a few miles away the crow flies from this proposed industrial site, and I am speaking in favor of rezoning said property in Hurt. I'll begin by commending the board for fast-tracking economic development in the northern part of the county. That's something that's been needed since the day that Klopman Mills shut down several years ago. The area that's requesting rezone is in an excellent location for any type of industry that would desire to come there. You have an excellent infrastructure already in place. You have Highway 29, both the bypass and Main Street of Hurt. You have the Stanton River, and you have a railroad. It's all in all, it's an excellent transportation network. And once you leave Main Street in Hurt or Business 29 and go west all the way to the bypass, it is basically a remote area. There's nothing back there because I drove it Sunday afternoon from Main Street to the bypass. Okay, tonight a coalition and or some environmental lawyer will probably come up here and tell y'all that to rezone this land will result in the Stanton River being drained, Leesville Lake being drained, Smith Mountain Lake being drained, Sycamore Creek, and maybe even Chesapeake Bay being drained. None of that is true. Klopman Mills, when it was in operation, used over 2 million gallons of water a day. Now I know because I worked there, and part of my job was opening a valve to let water come into the machine, and then a couple hours later, opening another valve to let the water out, and then repeat the process day in and day out for 8 hours a day and 3 shifts a day. For the environmental folks, Klopman Mills also had a smokestack. I can't remember what they burned, but I believe it was coal. And then if you go less than a mile
30
away,
seconds remaining.
the crow flies, you had the lane company. So environmental deals is no big deal. When I think of rezoning meetings, I think of a Virginia High School League realignment meeting to realign the high schools back in about 1995 or 96. A old coach from up at Bluefield, Virginia, Glenn Corlack, he stood up and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, you can say what you want.
3 minutes
You
is complete.
can believe what you want, but at the end of the day, this is about football scores. When I speak of rezoning, at the end of the day, it's about jobs." Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. McCluster, who's next?
Paul Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. My name's Paul Johnson, Stanton River District. I also serve on the Town Council for Hurt. I'm on the Planning and Zoning Committee for Hurt. And I'm also working on updating our comprehensive plan for the next 5 years. I commend what you all are doing here. In August, I met with our Planning and Zoning Committee. We updated our belief in advanced manufacturing. And I've heard here tonight that tourism and gambling is the way to go. And anybody can watch the news and see where Las Vegas is bankrupt. That will only support so long. We cannot be a country, county, and town of consumption. We have to manufacture. Industrial parks are exactly that. They are zoned for manufacturing. They are there for a purpose. This is an industrial area. Everything that's attached to it is bordering right on industrial. This is something that we've needed for a long, long time. We need this more than we need a casino. We need this more than we need anything else. You know, this is not about a data center. This is not about a power generation plant. This is about technology moving forward, and whether you like it or not, everyone here has an iPad, a cell phone, and if you want to live without them, cut them off and see how the world works for you. Manufacturing has got to come back to this country. We have got to step forward. We cannot let China keep controlling the atmosphere of the world. We've got to step back in there and be the great country we were founded on and the great country that each and one of us was born in. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. McCluster, who's next?
Reggie Bennett, and he's going to speak for 10 minutes. He's speaking on behalf of the Alta Vista Town Council.
Mr. Bennett, good evening and welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
Board of Supervisors, I have a couple council members here, Councilman Penn and Councilwoman Maddox, who are joining me, so we'd like to welcome us to your meeting. The reason I'm here, my name's Reggie Bennett, I live at 704 10th Street, Alta Vista. Reason I'm here, you sent us a letter inviting us here. And under the Virginia Code 15.2-2204, under rezoning application, since we're within a half mile of the proposed zoning map, it says you are invited to attend and state your views on the application at those times. So that's why I'm here. So if anybody says, why am I here? Because the law says I can be here, and I was invited. But again, you know, when I think about the words that just come out of how things have been around this area for quite a long time, Alta Vista in 1907, a couple of brothers came, before it was Alta Vista, the Lane brothers. And they said, this is a good place to build a box factory. And because it had a railroad and a river, they built the box factory that later became Lane Company. And because of that, many people at that time who were working on farms and whatnot, they decided they wanted a better way of life. So they come to work at the Lane Company. Maybe you know somebody worked at the Lane Company over the years. Maybe you worked there. But what it reminds me of is our area, Alta Vista, Hurt, Pittsylvania County, and Campbell County, we're blue collar. And if anybody that's from this area, they know what blue collar is. It means we work with our hands and we work with our backs. We make things. And, you know, some folks might not realize that, but that's the way it's been since Alta Vista, 1907, was formed with the Lane Company. Of course, later on we had other businesses come about. We had Burlington, we had Clockman, Magnatech, Schrader, Bridgeport, so forth and so on. Employed a lot of people. I think at one time Lane Company was around 2,000 people. I think Clockman was around 1,300. I never will forget our mayor, Rudy Burgess, at the time. Alta Vista's population was around 4,000 or 5,000, which we've declined now to about 3,300 because we lost jobs like everybody else. I remember our mayor at the time saying, Alta Vista has 3 jobs for every 1 citizen. That was pretty good. You could just quit your job here and go across the street and get another one. That was back in the good old days, wasn't it? But, you know, we've suffered too, just like Hurt. We lost industry, Magnatech, Lanes, sewing factories, this, that, and the other, and it hurts. It hurts not only your population and people leave and they move to other areas, also hurts your tax base, so you don't have the money to provide the services that you were able to do in the past. So this thing come around 2000, you might remember it. It's called NAFTA, and it was preached as the best thing since sliced bread. But we know that didn't work out that way. We know that we lost jobs. We lost a lot of jobs, a lot of good paying jobs that went overseas, and they were promised to be replaced with something better, but it never happened, did it? A lot of them jobs turned into service jobs that were low paying, not a lot of benefits to it. But, you know, my neighbors across the river here, I really feel for them because I always say Hurt's hurting. Hurt's been hurting for quite a while since Clockman shut down. That was one of their main tax revenues and sources of business. And I'm going to tell you how bad. Now, you're going to have to talk to these guys behind me that are on the town council and ask them. But I can tell you, I watch their meetings, and I watch your meetings too, and you're to be commended for what you do. But I was told these people, even though they can take a salary or stipend, they don't take one because their budget is that tight. And you know, these ladies and gentlemen and all that are on the Hurt Town Council, they're really working for their people in their town because they want to see things better. And they've been wanting to see things better for a long time. And I think right now we have an opportunity with the proposed rezoning to make things better. I'm just going to read verbatim. I'm not going to try to read anything into it, but this was from a Star Tribune paper this past week, and it talked about grant money from the Southeast Crescent Regional Commission. Different areas in Pennsylvania County got money, Advanced Learning Center, so forth and so on. But this is what Hurt got. I'm going to read this. I'm not trying to put words in between it. The town of Hurt and Pennsylvania County are buying a $10 million water treatment plant to expand water capacity, serve residents, and unlock over 1,500 new jobs at the Southern Virginia Multimodal Park. Let me just say one thing about the water. Hurt buys their water from a town of Alta Vista, and we sell it to them at a certain price. Now, you're familiar with the enterprise system. That's how water works. That's how it's sustained. Hurt takes that water, they have to mark it up in order to make a profit because that's how they do their maintenance and all like that. And one of the biggest things that any municipality faces over time is regulation. One of the regulations that's come down the pike from the state of Virginia is a lead pipe remediation. And I remember watching one of the meetings at Hurt that they had to do remediation or they're going to pay $1 million fine. So at the end of the day, I think the rezoning where they can get some water, maybe some jobs, is going to help Hurt. It's going to probably help the town of Alta Vista. Remember, we're blue collar, so that's what we like, and that's what we're used to. And if you do just what you said, if you base your decision on safety, health, and welfare of the community, and if you've done your homework and you see that whatever you got, maybe prospects or looking at that, if it falls within the guideline of health, safety, and welfare, then it shall be approved. So I'm just here to speak for my neighbors, and I think they've been hurting long enough, and I wish them the best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
Jeff Love.
Good evening. Welcome again, Mr. Love.
Thank you. Jeff Love, Stanton River District. This Board of Supervisors has stated that we need to trust them in this rezoning process. There are many reasons why the requested trust hasn't been earned. This board requested substantial zoning changes instead of the property owners in violation of the publicized rezoning application process. This new process sets the dangerous precedent of allowing the board to force a zoning change without any regard for citizen or property owner input. This permits the board to place any intrusive industry anywhere in the county. By fast-tracking substantial zoning changes, this board failed to provide neighboring property owners with adequate time to review the proposal and determine the acceptability of the rezoning in violation of the publicized rezoning application process. This board and their appointed planning commission haven't personally experienced the negative impacts of current heavy industry and have demonstrated that they don't care about citizen-owned neighboring properties. The air, water, noise, and light pollution would impact a large area, including Hurt, Alta Vista, Gretna, Chatham, and beyond. Heavy industry pollution negatively impacts health, environment, water sources, homes, businesses, schools, farms, crops, livestock, wildlife, and our quality of life. Water pollution will contaminate wells and the Roanoke-Stanton River, which travels 410 miles through southern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina. Pollution causes increased risks of cancer and other major health issues. The board is intentionally hiding the motives and reasons for this substantial rezoning request. Per Matt Rowe, this spot zoning request ultimately includes over 1,200 acres. Some of the impacted properties are currently zoned residential and agricultural. It's a huge jump to go from the current residential and agricultural zoning to heavy industry. If the board cannot divulge the intent, then our citizens cannot make informed decisions. If the intended industry is the rumored government or military facility, then Pittsylvania County will become a target for terrorism.
30 seconds remaining.
Once a property is rezoned to heavy industry, any industry in the long list can be placed on the property. This includes buildings up to 120 feet tall with no restriction on the height of smokestacks or chimneys, and data centers with special use permits. Advanced manufacturing will not benefit the county financially due to the demanded tax breaks and will have very few employment opportunities due to the use of robotics and AI. This negates any promised or perceived financial gains. Trust must be earned through appropriate and citizen-focused actions. Voting no on these destructive zoning changes will go a long way towards earning citizen trust. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who's our
Tracy
next?
Love.
Ms. Love, good evening. Welcome again.
Thank you. Tracy Love, Standing River District. This zoning proposal makes a big jump in my mind, going from agriculture and residential to advanced manufacturing. And even those of us who I call myself an import, I didn't grow up here. We understand that there was the history of Klopman Mills and Lane and how much they gave to the community. My grandfather worked in a very similar situation. He was a head mechanic at Hope Hosiery, which we were in a very rural area, and there were some small factories where people worked if they were not working their farm. He was a head mechanic. He oversaw all the machinery and the people who handled the machines. For a pair of socks, one pair of socks was handled by multiple people, between the people who actually ran the knitting machines, the mechanics who kept the machines running, the people who packaged the socks, shipped them. There were a lot of people involved. That's not the way it's done anymore. Hope Hosiery went out of business because of advanced manufacturing and things going overseas. Because machines could do a lot more cheaply what people could do. We lived in York, Pennsylvania before moving down here, where we had the Harley-Davidson final assembly plant, which was a huge employer when we first moved there. Tons of people were working at Harley. And every year there were less and less and less people as the assembly lines became more and more automated. The company actually threatened to leave York, Pennsylvania, because the county stopped giving them their tax breaks.
30 seconds remaining.
You know why the county gave in and to keep them there? Not because they were a high employer, because they were a huge tourist draw. The money that the final assembly plant brought in was all in tourist dollars. They did not get any money from tax dollars.
3 minutes is complete.
Just please consider that manufacturing today is not what it was in the good old days. And giving a blank check on changing the zoning does not guarantee who comes in. If your perfect plan doesn't work out, we may get a poor citizen.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll take a 10-minute recess.
Got a few minutes left.
2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. Please find your seats. Please find your seats. We'll come to order. Thank you so very much. Mr. McCluster, who's our next speaker?
Gary Hodnett.
Mr. Hodnett, good evening and welcome, sir.
Mr. Chairman and board members, I hear a lot here tonight, and I apologize. I left my notes at home, so I'm shooting from a hip. But I've heard a lot of people talk about trust, and you need to realize that, you've gotten over that hurdle. You're here because people trust you. You were elected. So don't even think a second about that. You've earned it. And yes, the town of Hurt is in favor of this rezoning. And as Reggie said, what's good for Hertz, good for Alta Vista, it's good for Sycamore, it's good for Gretna. So I urge you to move forward, get this job done, and realize that there are a lot more people in the town of Hurt and Alta Vista and that surrounding area that are supporting you guys to do this. We put our faith in you, and you've made wise decisions in the past. And I hope tonight will be another one of the check marks that you can put in the win column. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodnett.
Steve Worley.
Mr. Worley, good evening and welcome.
Thank you. My name's Steve Worley. I live in the town of Hurt. I serve on town council of Hurt, and I am very much in favor for the rezoning of the land. There are several reasons. One is for what it will do for the town of Hurt in the way of jobs, in the way of industry, in the way of the tax revenue that we so badly need, and also help us with our water situation. Not only will it be good for the town of Hurt, it will be good for the entire county, because the more industry this county has, the less taxes that you and I have to pay. Now, I know that they are deferred for a while to get the industry in here, but that doesn't last forever. It's also going to create jobs that we so badly need. Now, I've heard talk of pollution. In April, I'll be 70 years old. I've lived in Pennsylvania County all my life. I've rode by Klopman Mills smokestack. I've rode by Lane Company's smokestack. As far as I know, the doctor says I'm in fair health for my age. But health should be a main consideration for everything that we do. We want safety, we want health for our kids, but we also have to have jobs. And Pennsylvania County, especially on the north end, has no jobs. Here's an opportunity to where we can have jobs. And now's the time to act. Now's the time to do the rezoning. All of the landowners that's involved in this is very much on board. Now, getting back to the pollution and the lakes and the rivers, Klopman Mills pulled water out of that Stanton River and Sycamore Creek at a rate of about 2 million gallons a day for years, somewhere around 40. This industry that will be coming in
30 seconds remaining.
will not drain Leesville Lake or Stanton River or Sycamore Creek or any other body of water. So I hope that this board votes in favor of this rezoning for jobs, and also the jobs will help keep our youth here to where they don't have to leave the county looking for work. And some won't have to drive to Lynchburg, and some won't have to drive to Danville.
3 minutes is
for
complete.
employment. So it's a win-win for the town of Hurt and also for Pennsylvania County. And I'll thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Kim Johnson?
Ms. Johnson, good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Can you pull that mic down a little bit? Thank you.
Kim Johnson, resident of Hurt, Stanton River District. I've been in Hurt for the 60 years of my life. Industry fueled our economy until it dissolved. Young people came. Many stayed, building lives for their young growing families. Our economy at that time was fueled by money from old area entrepreneurs. Who's staying now? Who's coming? One former resident, my age, commented just recently, too many young residents staying are those who are addicted or already living off of the system. Growth is progress, and progress is growth. Rezone the property that adjoins the industrial park in Hurt to promote opportunity, growth, and progress. By the way, public service is a thankless job. I've done it, and I appreciate you. For those who are not happy, these are not lifetime appointments. When their seats become available, put your name on the ballot, and let's see what you have to offer. For those who fear us being soft targets, we live close to D.C., the Norfolk Naval Base, B&W in Lynchburg. We are already soft targets. We cannot live in a what-if world. We have to step aside and let progress move us forward. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Who's next?
John Daniel?
Mr. Daniel, good evening. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Supervisors, I'm here tonight, John Daniel, representing the Pennsylvania County Industrial Development Authority. I'd like to present the resolution that we have adopted in favor of this rezoning request. Whereas the Pennsylvania County Industrial Development Authority is a political subdivision of the Commonwealth of Virginia established to promote industry and develop trade by inducing manufacturing, industrial, governmental, and commercial enterprises to locate or remain in the county of Pennsylvania, Virginia, thereby benefiting and promoting the public welfare. And whereas the Board of Supervisors of Pennsylvania County proposed the following properties totaling approximately 224.24 acres located on or near U.S. Highway 29, Main Street and Pocket Road in the Stanton River Election District to be rezoned from R1 or A1 to M2. Whereas to achieve the intended economic development objectives to ensure consistency with the county's comprehensive planning and land use framework and to facilitate timely site readiness, the authority finds that the property should be rezoned to the M2 zoning district. And whereas the authority desires to formally recommend the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors consider and act upon the rezonings and on specified dates to advance project timelines and align with statutory, procedural, and notice requirements. Now therefore be it resolved that the Pennsylvania County Industrial Development Authority hereby recommends that the Board of Supervisors rezone the property containing 224.24 acres to the M2 zoning district on January 20th, 2026, subject to all applicable procedural requirements, public hearings, conditions, and/or proffers deemed appropriate by the Board of Supervisors. Adopted this 20th day of January 2026 by the Pennsylvania County Industrial Development Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sherry Johnson.
Ms. Johnson. Good evening and welcome.
My name is Sherry Johnson. Excuse me. And I live at 1036 Ardmore Circle, Lynchburg. And I'm on behalf of the heirs of Reuben Graves in the Standing River District. That's the land adjacent to the property that everyone is talking about, bringing an industrial plant to. On April 14th in 2025, Mr. Roach, Larry Roach, his address is 483 Bedford Highway, Lynch Station, Virginia. Mr. Roach stated that he has since sold the property. I did a deed search. As of January the 12th, the property still belonged to Mr. Roach. Mr. Roach had the timber removed from the land, and in doing so, he destroyed the road, as you can see on the plat that I gave you, Chairman Tucker. And we spoke to Mr. Roach about repairing the road. While he was doing the logging, he took out the existing road that gave access to Reuben Graves' property. There is no access to that property. That's my grandfather's land, and there's a cemetery on that property. So I spoke to Mr. Roach, and I asked him would he reconstruct the road. As of right now, he got mounds of dirt. Off of the Panel Lane, there's a mound of dirt blocking the road. You can't even walk in. If you go off on the 29 bypass going now north, you can't get off of that because he got a mound of dirt there. So when I spoke to him, he was very insensitive. He said he would go remove the mound of dirt, but he wasn't going to put that road back. The road was the only access we had and the right-of-way to the family land and the family cemetery. You know, and during this time, I thank God nobody has died in the Graves family that we wanted to bury there because we couldn't get it. We couldn't even use the cemetery because we can't access it. So I'm asking, my problem is, if a plant comes there, what does that mean for our land? Where we have access? What's going to happen to our land? That's what we want to know. Me and my family want to know. And who's going to reconstruct the road so we'll have access to the grave land and the grave cemetery? We got the Virginia Code 57-27-.1 states that you cannot block a family cemetery. You have to give the right of way. And on the plat that I showed you, it shows that road.
30 seconds remaining.
In 1974, whenever VDOT put that road in, it shows that it gave my grandfather access. And on the deed to Mr. Roach's land, it states, it is understood that there is a reserve from the deed, the grave cemetery together perpetual rights of ingress and egress between the cemetery and the access road as shown on the plat.
3 minutes is complete.
So I thank y'all for listening to me, and I hope I'm listening. I want somebody to answer my question. I said it to the planning commission. I haven't got a word, but somebody needs to answer about putting this road back in. And if they don't want to do it from the Panel Lane, make an access road off of 29 bypass going north, so we can access our land. Because right now we cannot. You can walk in, but you can't drive in. Then I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. So the public know, and you are aware, ma'am, this is not a question and answer session. We will ask you to see Mr. Arnold, and we'll capture some information from you, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Scotty Kraft.
Mr. Kraft, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and the board.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Scotty Kraft, and
Can you raise that mic up for us, Mr. Kraft?
my name is Scotty Kraft, and I was raised and born in Hurt. And as my sister stated, when that road was put in the 70s, when they put the expressway in, they gave my grandfather access, and the VDOT came and put the road in. When my grandfather died in 1979, we had to go in off of 29 to bury him in the cemetery, and we had to get a permit from Pennsylvania County to do that, in order to park the cars on 29. So my point is, I'm asking today is, we need just trying to get access to our land and to be able to cross it. You know, we talked to Mr. Roach on the phone, and he stated that he had sold the land to the town of Hurt. He came back and said that everybody sold that land except y'all. Okay? Our land was not for sale. And what he didn't understand is, in the process of him selling that land, if he sold it, there's 2 cemeteries on that land that he sold. He bought the land and probably didn't know the cemeteries was there. I can take somebody to show you where the cemetery is at, but there's 2 cemeteries on the land that the town of Hurt's supposed to be done bought. Okay, and then our grandparents' cemetery is there until we can't get to. And whoever went there went and cut a road through our land, granddad's land, doing lumber, the timber company did. And they took out the road to where we could go in. Now we can't go in either way. If we park on 29 and walk over, we're taking a chance of getting a ticket or getting towed. And my next concern is, they're not being transparent about which company is coming and what kind of company is coming. So the question I have is, how far do they have to be off our property line if they come and build something close to it? And somebody can ask that. I know y'all can't answer, but somebody can give us an answer on that. And the next thing I want to know is, ask the county and ask the board to be in consideration of
30 seconds remaining.
existing owners. And in the new company, if they come, be in consideration of the existing owners and have some respect for the other owners' land. And the next thing I'm closing out with this, consider this: if a new company comes, you're saying you're bringing jobs into the town of Hurt, the jobs will mostly be outsourced and bringing outsiders in to work in places where you're saying
3 minutes is complete.
The town of Hurt should give jobs to other people. So just consider that. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Deborah Carter.
Thank you so much. Who's our next speaker?
Katie Whitehead.
Good evening. Welcome again, Ms. Whitehead.
Katie Whitehead, Chatham Blairs. Please listen for the difference between what I'm going to say and opposing the rezoning. A year ago, in November, December, and January, I asked the board to adopt the new draft zoning ordinance, and at a minimum, to amend the current zoning ordinance to include the definition of power station and the language regarding power stations. Yes, I have heard Matt Rowe say twice tonight and at least another time or two that the infrastructure, gas, electrical power is not available at that site for data centers or power stations. I believe him. However, it's conceivable that things could change, and nothing in his statement commits the county to not pursuing something if that became a possibility. I see two solutions that would address my concern. One would be to amend the current zoning ordinance to include, there's no mention of power station in the current zone, to include that definition and that as a special use in M2. So that's one solution. I learned just a couple of weeks ago in the midst of what I will continue to say, not is rushed development at Hurt, but is rushed review of this rezoning. A couple of weeks ago, I learned, so the Board of Supervisors is applying to rezone. The Board of Supervisors makes the final decision on this rezoning. Like any other applicant,
30 seconds
the
remaining.
Board of Supervisors can offer proffers. You can make statements to address concerns. You may think, why do we need to do this? We don't want a power station or a data center there. Why do we need to do this? We don't have the infrastructure for those things. Well, you can, I'm sure
3
there
minutes
are
is
skilled
complete.
staff who can draft proffers that could address some of those concerns. I've not had time to seek expert assistance in suggesting a proffer, and I don't think people in the Hurt area who are concerned about some, any of these things have had the resources to, or communication with board members or staff to craft possible proffers. I don't imagine that you will not pass this rezoning tonight. In the future, please recognize that you too can offer proffers, and that it would be a great service to your constituents to work with them and your staff to do that. Now, do I oppose the rezoning?
Thank you, Ms. Whitehead. Who's our next speaker?
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. All right, at 8:41, I close public hearing. Discussion from the board. Yep. We'll let Mr. Dudley make his motion, and then we'll go to discussion.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In case R-26-007, I make a motion to approve the rezoning of 224.24 acres, R1 28.39 acres, residential suburban subdivision district, and A1 195.85 acres, agriculture district 2, M2 industrial district heavy industry, to allow the properties to be used for advanced manufacturing. Mr. Chairman, that is my motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. Support for the motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. All right, it's moved and met with second for the approval. Discussion. All right, Mr. Bowman.
I'll jump in. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to everybody that came out and spoke tonight, and for those that just came to listen, and for all those folks that are online watching. You know, back in 2009, when I came to work here as the Economic Development Director, The challenge was to market that particular area in Hurt, the Klopman Mills area. And that's when it still had a building on it and it had a smokestack on it. And I did a walkthrough on that probably 2 or 3 different times. Across most of that property up there, one of the things that we discovered was this property was not marketable. Even though a lot of people wanted it. They wanted it turned over. They wanted to reuse the building. They wanted to use the pad that was already there. They wanted to use the water. They wanted to use the wastewater. All of that that had been in place when Klopman was a functioning company there. Once it closed, it was very hard to bring in a new business and adapt to what was already there. So there was a lot of discussion on what you do. You have to go in there and tear that building down. You have to refurbish it. And then we found out while we were talking about that, a lot of that property was contaminated simply because there were no regulations in place at the time on how to dispose of materials like the dyes that were there, the cloth that was there. And so there was a lot of cost factors involved in going in and cleaning that property. We were able to, back then, get a DEQ grant for about $25,000, which didn't touch anything hardly. But it gave somebody an opportunity to go in there and review that property, look at it, and make some assessments. Since that time, we haven't been able to do anything with that property. Now we finally have an opportunity to look at that. And now, 15 or 16 years later, there are a number of regulations in place that were not in place back then that are going to regulate that property or any other property that's going to be zoned for this type or these types of business, whether it's industrial or whatever. So rest assured that the states and the federal government has in place regulations that make sure that anything that goes on these properties that are zoned or rezoned, they follow the regulations and the policies that are out there. And before anything takes place, these environmental studies, they're going to be done before any construction takes place on these properties. So I know it doesn't alleviate your fears as far as the environmental, but Klopman Mills had, and I bet if you're still here, somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 million gallons authorized per day coming out of the Stanton River. That's a lot of water. That could come out of there, and it was permitted, and it's still permitted, and it's one of the largest in the state of Virginia. And so that property there is really, it's perfect for somebody coming in and wanting to utilize it properly. And so with that being said, I am for, and let's see, it was Mr. Steve Worley. Steve made good comments there, and I'll give you credit because you hit all the buttons there. We want to look out for the community. We want to make sure our folks have good jobs. We want to make sure the environment's taken care of. We're not in the business here to disrupt or mess anything up. We're here to make this a good place to live, work, and raise a family. We would not intentionally do anything to make this bad. And Steve, I appreciate that, and the folks that came in, Gary Hodnett for speaking about Hurt and how it will benefit Hurt and Alta Vista. I think it's very good, and I appreciate that. And Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dudley.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say I appreciate everybody coming out and speaking. If you're against it or you're for it, but there's a lot to look at here, and this is a piece of property that was a really good fit for this project, and I'm like Mr. Bowman. I want to thank Reggie Bennett. He's the mayor of Alta Vista. He come out with some of his folks on his board, and thank you all so much for coming. The folks on Town of Hurt, we got the mayor for the Town of Hurt here as well. He brought some of his board. You guys spoke. Thank you. thank you to the folks, even, if you was not in favor of this, you still have a voice. Just want to thank you for coming and just expressing your views. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. Anyone else? All right, let me have a bite at this apple before we actually take a vote. Just to address some concerns. I'm not on Facebook, but I kind of read with split-eye vision, so I tiptoed, peeped over the shoulder of some who were on Facebook. After our meeting last week, those that purport the fact that I'm trying to be a politician, I'm not actually trying to be a politician. I am one, and a pretty good one. But beyond that, I am a statesman, which means that I have the interest of the public at heart. Now, and for some, I'm going to share a little nursery rhyme we learned years ago in school. Rip Van Winkle, I believe it was, drank some magic potion. And he went up the mountain to fall asleep. When he went up the mountain, King George of England was in charge. After 20 years, when he came back down the mountain, George Washington was president. Now, I say that to suggest that it's a dangerous scenario when people sleep through transformations. And life is happening whether we want to believe it or not. Let me share with everyone, be careful what you ask for. You might get it, and you might not. Here's what I'm going to say. People say, well, I want my kids to go get a great education, then I want them to come back to this area, find a job, put down roots. Now, you might get that, but you might not want it. Here's why I say that. It is getting harder for college graduates to find jobs. Goldman Sachs this past year in the third quarter of 2025, they recorded over $4 billion in profits. They took that $4 billion and they laid off 1,000 workers and replaced them with AI. And with this current administration and AI actually being unregulated completely, that means a lot of the jobs are going to go by the wayside. And I get it. So little Johnny and little Susie might get their sheepskin and come on back home because they're not able to find a job within their area of expertise. But there again, here we are now, we're afforded an opportunity to put good jobs in an industrial park that we had set up and earmarked for that. But beyond that, let me share this with you. If I poll this audience, I venture to say that most would not even recognize the #1 employer in the United States. Glad you asked. It's Walmart. Walmart. Their business model is they are professional importers. They import goods and services. They go out and buy in bulk from China. They operate with very thin margins, razor thin margins. Given the state of affairs right now with inflation, when they sell a product, a pair of blue jeans, pair of underwear, you name it, they're actually losing money. Walmart has a responsibility to the shareholders to turn a profit. That they have that responsibility. Their only other option is to pull up stakes, move out of your community, and go find another market like India or Pakistan. Imagine that. So, folks, I said that to suggest that, listen, the gentleman even mentioned it this evening. These jobs represent a lifeline for this community. And we need to take advantage of every opportunity we have to put jobs in Pittsylvania County. You can call me a politician for that, but I think I'm looking out for the best interest of every citizen in Pittsylvania County. When we do that, it has the ripple effect. People typically will buy homes. They will then pay taxes. That's additional revenue to the county on those personal property assets. So we have to think about what we're doing. There's a reason that you elected us to make these decisions. So that's where I stand. I'm going to support this motion and vote affirmatively. And I hope that my colleagues will join me. Gentlemen, cast your votes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. All right, that moves us to agenda item number 11, unfinished business. Anything, Mr. Evans?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 12, new business, which is 7C. And Mr. Shorter, would you come up and represent 7C, please?
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you, sir.
fellow board members, as you recall from our work session earlier today, I gave a presentation of the county organizing with the 3 towns in Pittsylvania County to facilitate a festival celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation. And the request of this board is to appropriate $125,000 in the interim to fund the festivities and the procurement that we need at this time until the fundraising is complete and we have a final accounting of how much corporate sponsorship that we're going to actually receive.
Thank you, Mr. Shorter. Let's see. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure? Mr. Whittle, you wanted to separate.
I really think that we're pushing out a lot of money there if we don't get any funding. That's what my problem is.
Getting a mic.
So I don't know if it's any way around it, or can we cut it back to where we don't spend $125,000, we spend $50,000 to $75,000, and that way then we have to get the donations coming in to help out, or what can we do?
So as, if I may, Mr. Shorter.
Yes, sir.
So here's what our intention is. Okay, we're saying that we're not going to exceed $125,000. We're going to go out there and we're going to fundraise as hard as we can, and whatever we bring in from the fundraising will basically offset the $125,000. And as I said in the work session, this is our 250th celebration. There are 64,000 plus strong in Pittsylvania County. If we divide that number into the 125,000, And I'm not being free and easy with any constituent's money, but you're talking about less than $2 to be able to pull this event off. And it's on the 4th of July. It's in celebration of our country. I'm hoping we don't have to spend any of the money. The only thing we need to do at this juncture is we need to set that money aside to make sure that, because I can't have the steering committee out there planning and, getting quotes, that sort of thing, and we're just kind of operating in the blind. So that's kind of where I am.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Dalton.
Mr. Chairman, I hear what you say, what you're saying, and I know we need to do something, so I'm all for it, don't get me wrong. But I'm kind of like Mr. Whittle. I don't know if we need to set aside 125 or not, because we can always come back and add to it if we don't get any for right now.
Thank you, Mr.
My suggestion or my motion would be is let's set aside about half of that, no more than 70,000, and then go from there. And if we need more, and like I said, we're going to meet every month if we're all living, and we can add some more to it. But that would give the committees and everybody something to go to work on. We haven't seen any quotes. I mean, we need to see them, see what kind of money we're going to spend. But like I said, let's put a number there to get started. Then we can always add to it.
Mr. Dalton, with all due respect, sir, the fireworks are going to cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000. We have quotes, is that not right, from a lot of the vendors? How much is the?
Yes, sir. The estimated entertainment at this point is about $23,000 for the DJ and the live bands throughout the day.
So what you're talking about is a fraction of. Gentlemen, I would prefer to set up the $125,000. If we don't need to use all of it, we can always dial it back or pull back. But I think we do ourselves a disservice, and we will be a little short-sighted if we just set up $75,000. Why go through this pain all over again when it's easier to just offset it with whatever's fundraised? And I'm hoping we get more than that.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Short, all due respect, if that number of the 23,000 was for bands and attractions for entertainment was in the packet, I didn't see it, but I see where, originally when we talked about this before, in some other meetings, when this idea come about, which was very recent to my knowledge, but I'm the newest member on the board, we were delegating, we were looking for sign-ups from employees across all agencies in the county, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then we got to come up with the money to pay them on a compensation plan.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, have we come up with how many people it's going to take to pull this off, and what kind of figure that would look at? And then my second question would be, I know you want to do it at ODAC, and that's fine, it's a great place, but I don't see a lot of the citizens in this county parking off-site and being shuttled by bus. The typical venues that you see in Danville, Harvest Jubilee, and those kind of places, maybe they have better parking, or just like Danville, Pittsylvania County Fairgrounds in my district, they park and they walk into the venue of the entertainment. I question the comfortability that our residents here in Pittsylvania County are going to be, how openly they would want to ride a shuttle bus. That's just my thoughts. But again, I don't see where 125K, I mean, we didn't get a breakdown to where we come up with, where did that number come from, I guess is my point. And, 23 for attractions and entertainment. Is staffing the rest of those numbers? Because I'm assuming the food vendors and the arts and craft vendors, they're going to come in. We're not paying them to come in. We're giving them an opportunity to serve food or show what they do as a craft or a venue type setup, correct?
Well, the staffing is not going to be a dollar figure. That's compensating people for taking their time off over that 4-day weekend and compensating them with those hours off later.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a dollar payout.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay.
And the committee has discussed a potential, like the sheriff does with the trunk or treat, of some type of free food to the guest, but that has not yet been finalized, if that's going to be in the form of, if we have enough volunteers to cook and serve the food ourselves, or that potentially could be in the form of a food voucher for food trucks that show up on premises. None of that has been finalized.
Okay.
But there definitely will be a cost involved with food and beverage.
Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. You guys still won't put the onus on me. Gentlemen, I still think, if we don't use the entire $125,000, we can always put the money back in place, but I'd prefer to go back to the steering committee, because right now, based on the insight that I have, and we will ask for a report going forward from each committee and Mr. Shorter, but that number is going to be pretty close, pretty accurate to pull off that type of event. Yes, sir.
So the silence is deafening here. It's a big chew, if you will, $125,000 right now, especially when we're getting ready to go into this budget cycle. Would it be too much to ask if we go back to are you meeting again with the steering committees before next meeting?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay. So would it be too much to ask if they provided some numbers, if you will, on what they anticipate spending, so we can base our decision on that, and maybe not necessarily go the 50 or 75,000, but we put a line item in the budget strictly for this, and then use that number there to kind of guide us in making this decision. It's just and I think some of the pause here on some of the members is this too much to ask right out of the chute, and not knowing exactly what we're going to have to use the money for. One of the questions I have, and I know the fireworks is a big deal, and it's going to be something that everybody, it's July the 4th, is going to be competing to try to find a company to come in and do the fireworks. Have we done that yet? Have we tapped any company yet and said, yes, we were going to go with you? And if so, what's the preliminary contract with that? Again, these are some of the basic questions that I think need to be answered. And if it's not too much of an ask, maybe go to the committees and find out what you're going to need, come back to us, and then say, here we are with some good numbers. And it wouldn't be too late, I don't think, to wait 30 more days to make this thing happen.
Mr. Bowman, to answer your question, yes, sir. We have a quote from the fireworks vendor. Someone give me a motion to postpone until next week's budget meeting. Let's get off this and move on. Yes, give me a motion.
So I'd make that motion that we postpone this until next, what is that, what day is it?
It's the 27th.
27th?
I believe it is.
27th of February at our budget meeting, because everybody will be there, and then we'll discuss it there.
Second.
Thank you so much. Discussion on the motion. Hearing no discussion, gentlemen, cast your votes.
Thank you, Mr. Shorter.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shorter. All right, any other matters from the work session?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, your motion carries unanimously, thank you. All right, board members report. All right, Mr. Bowman.
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, real quick, I attended the Dan River Region Out-of-School Network Breakfast that was held at Averett University a week or so ago, and glad to say that we had great participation there, in addition to our Superintendent Mayhew, he was also in attendance. So great job there. I had the honor of attending, along with some of my colleagues here, the Commonwealth Prayer Breakfast in Richmond this past week at the opening of the General Assembly. There were great messages that came out from all the speakers there and prayers for our local and state leaders, to include our former governor and our current governor. And congratulations to Abigail Spanberger as our new governor, and thank you to Governor Glenn Youngkin for the good 4 years that he gave us in the state of Virginia. Congratulations to Dr. Shannon Hare, who will be leaving DCC and heading to the James Sprunt Community College. It's down toward the coast there, as the newest president of that community college. So congratulations to Shannon on that. And finally, I look forward to 2026 serving Pittsylvania County alongside the rest of my colleagues here on the dais. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mr. Whittle.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank the staff for everything you do every month to keep us straight. Thank you. Supposed to have some bad weather come the weekend, so everybody buckle down for it, and let's make sure we all get through it safe. Thank you to the board. Thank you to Mr. Shorter, Mr. Evans. Thank you. Just appreciate all y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whittle. Mr. Dalton.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Had a good meeting. I want to thank our staff for everything that they do. Also, I'd like to welcome Mr. Brown to our board. He's our newest member. Thank you for being here and serving your district, sir. And again, as Mr. Whittle said, it called for some bad weather, so everybody be safe and kind of get prepared, and hopefully it won't be bad, and be safe on the way home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Mr. Ingram.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. Good meeting, I might add. The other day we celebrated Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and we have so much to be thankful for, that we got so many good officers that work to serve and protect us. And also remember the trooper, one of our troopers that was shot a few weeks ago. He's home, he's recovering, but he's mighty lucky. I wanted to extend congratulations to Brad and Donna Moore, who are the owners of Reuben's Restaurant. Many of you have probably eaten a cheeseburger special there a time or two. Brad has finally retired and passed it on to his son. It was started by his daddy, Reuben, who passed away a few years ago. I do want to also remind folks to make sure you get your bread and milk, because the snowstorm is anticipated to be the worst in over 20 years. And that's a whole lot of snow. And I want to close by welcoming my new comrade, Mr. Brown. It will be a pleasure to work with you. Thank you. You have so much to add, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Mr. Dudley.
Yes, sir. I want to thank everybody for being with us tonight. I know it's a little lengthy, but that's okay. Welcome, Mr. Brown. I think you're going to do a fine job. Everybody's talking about the bad weather. It's a lot of excitement with the kids. They get out of school, and I kind of like it too. But, yeah, let's be certain to prepare, and then check on our neighbors. You may have an elderly neighbor that maybe their families doesn't check on them that much. Check on the folks around us, and everybody hunker down and just be safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley, and welcome, Mr. Brown, and we're going to let you wrap it up.
Well, I want to thank you guys. I especially want to thank the folks of the Dam River District that elected me and entrusted in me to, and I'm partial, but in my opinion, the best district. But I think all these guys would say the same about theirs. I've been here all my life in Pittsylvania County, and I'm 39 years old, and I've raised my 2 kids here, and I'm running a business here, and I'm excited to get into local politics. I've been serving on the Planning Commission for the last couple of years. Got to learn and gain a ton of knowledge on, and had no idea what all goes on in this role until I got to see it firsthand. But it's an exciting time for Pittsylvania County. I'm excited about being here, and I know if you're watching from home or if you're in the crowd, a lot of the times the cup may look half empty, but I encourage you that I think Pittsylvania County's cup is half full. And I'm excited. I can't thank you guys enough for welcoming me and all the staff. You've been tremendous, and I like it because I think we've got a pretty good like-minded group, and I'm falling right into play. I'm excited. Congratulations to Chairman and Vice Chairman. and you guys are going to be great, and you've already been great. So I've got to learn to be great with you. So I'm excited. I can't thank everybody enough, and congratulations to the town of Hurt and future growth. So I'm ready to go. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. It's an humbling experience to serve the Bannister Magisterial District, and also I appreciate my colleagues, again, having confidence to allow me to lead this board. We want to be onward and upward. We are anticipating great things for 2026, and we appreciate all of your support from the community. Mr. Short.
Just thank you for a good meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to serve, and just everyone stay safe during this next winter weather event we're about to have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Evans.
Mr. Chairman, it's a pleasure to be part of the process. There are great things to come. Thank you.